just like waiting for it to fail.
I was, yeah, same. I was worried for Angelo because he hasn't physically been in an office in over, like a year.
Yeah, man.
And I've been back in an office now for like a few months, so I'm back on that usual grind.
I guess now I'm what's that word for someone who am I an introvert or an extrovert now? The one that doesn't like to be around
introvert.
people.
Introvert.
Right. I'm an introvert with strangers that aren't located at the Jersey Shore when I'm drunk.
Right.
I'm an introvert in a professional setting. I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay.
Or is it more like you're out of practice in a professional setting?
That too.
Yeah.
I don't know what to wear anymore because like usually, obviously you work from home. I wake up. I go to sleep in shorts and a guinea tee. Wake up, go to work in shorts and a guinea tee. Maybe a hoodie if it's cold.
Yeah.
So having to actually put on like full length pants in the summer, not the best. It's not the best thing for me.
Can we say guinea tea in 2021 or?
It's better than wife beater.
I'm just saying. I didn't know that was a bad term until sophomore year Italian class. When I said it, and the teacher was like, "What did you just say?" I'm like, "It's guinea tea." Like what?
Yeah.
She's like, "You can't call it that. Call it a beater." I'm like, "Why?" Like that's what they're called. And it did kind of put two and two together.
Yeah, I mean,
but a beater is just short for wife beater. It implies the same thing. It's better to hit your wife than to be a guinea. I don't understand.
Italian, exactly. Listen, you pull up my what the hell is that thing? The Ancestry.com.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I can say the word.
Never,
Let's go Forza Italia, the European champions.
I've seen a bunch of people do those ancestry tests, and I've never seen anybody more of a high percentage for one particular spot. And it wasn't even like, holy shit, this is like covering a big chunk of Europe. It's specifically just Italian. Like, you were what, like 78%? Or like 98%.
98% Italian.
And I think it says like there's like a thing on the bottom that says like there's like a 1% margin of error. So it could either be 99 or 97. Either way,
that's just
I'll take
fucking nuts, dude. That's pure blood as it is.
Pure blood, baby.
Mine just looks like one of the Muppets threw up on the map.
So is mine. We're just complete mutts.
Latinos
all over
are
the place.
Open arms, open everything. We love everyone.
Yeah, that's just what we are.
It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
We're a beautiful mix. Welcome to the show, boys.
Well, good intro there.
This is the Small Screen Society. We are back.
Got the name right.
Yet again.
Nice.
We are here.
Our longest hiatus yet.
How long will it last? I cannot tell you.
Who knows?
Flying by the seat of our pants, man.
I am here to tell you that we are back. We are live.
We are live.
And when I say that we're live, I mean that we are really live. We are on Twitch right now, streaming live. So if anybody wants to watch this completely uncut and unedited and just straight up, that's where you can watch us whenever we decide to do this pod. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, you guys could see the technical difficulties take place in live time.
Correct.
How we actually react to them.
How we react to them.
We added the visual element now, so there's more margin for some technical difficulties.
Yes, correct. And
man.
A lot of production went into doing this. But I think that for our fans, this is a very important thing because they can finally, put a face to our voices and our comments, more importantly. I can no longer say things that are anti-Marvel and Star Wars and things like that.
We got a long show.
They have your face.
Without a little bit of fear behind me saying that.
They have your face.
I most likely have your back on this one.
Yeah, so, it is what it is, but we're here, and we're going to continue to do what we do and what we have been doing for a year, 2 years, almost 3, I don't know. I don't even know how long.
Almost 3, I feel like.
Almost 3 years. This end of this year will be 3 years.
Yeah, so technically this is supposed to be episode 91, but I also haven't posted the past like 3 episodes because they didn't work. So there's gonna be a couple just what were they? The episodes that were the lost episodes. So there's going to be a couple lost episodes down the road that we can eventually kind of circle back to.
Did we ever post previous lost episodes?
We did not have any more lost episodes. We did have one that we eventually did post.
That Terminator.
That was it. The Terminator one I did eventually post. So these are officially going to be the lost episodes because I'm definitely not going to post these anytime soon. Cool. So now that we're back, we've missed a whole bunch of things.
So much.
A lot of things have come out. We've watched a lot of things. I've actually gone back to the movie theater once.
Nice.
Since the COVID and it kind of ended, but it really didn't end. But it kind of ended, but it didn't end.
We decided it ended.
Yeah.
It's like,
So now we're kind of in the spot where we're kind of deciding what we want to discuss just for this particular episode, and we'll kind of just keep it relatively current. Do we want to? We'll start with Luca. Because we did all watch that, and we are all fans of all the Disney Pixar movies and shit like that.
Yes.
We'll keep it PG because we'll start PG because, in case anyone's listening, they might think that we're a very, very PG, very friendly podcast.
We're not though.
No, we are really not. I said Guinea the first 7 minutes of this podcast.
We did.
We talked about eating wives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if your kids are listening to this, turn it off.
Yeah. Angelo,
put the kids to bed.
Angelo, I'll because this is your motherland and because your country just won the Euro Cup, so you guys are celebrating in the streets. I'm going to let you go ahead and kind of give us like a quick summary of what this movie was and what it was about.
So, the story of Luca is a beautiful, I guess you could say it's a coming-of-age tale about a sea monster who has very overprotective parents, who kind of lives a little bit of a mundane life underneath the surface of the water. He's teaches schools of fish. But he wants more. Right. He wants to enjoy himself. He wants more out of his life. Right. So, after basically being baited in by his grandmother to just go to the surface, just see what's up there. So he swims up the surface, and that's where he meets his I guess new friend. Did they know each other before that? No, right?
No, they didn't. They just run into each other outside, right?
Yeah.
Well, they were like in a cave, and he came up on.
Yeah.
So,
but was it underwater, or was it? Yeah, it was underwater because
it was underwater because he was wearing the swimsuit.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Remember the movie, Rom?
Yeah.
The diver's outfit. So he meets his friend Alberto.
Okay.
And Alberto is no stranger to hanging up on the surface of the water. And the funny little caveat is, when the sea monsters go to the surface and breach the water, they take human form.
Yes.
So Luca transforms into this nice young child. Alberto's got a nice little afro going for an Italian, a nice Italian afro going.
Correct.
And Alberto brings Luca to his lair, where he said that his dad basically abandoned him, and teaches Luca about what life is like on the surface. And I think one of the best parts about this movie is how obsessed they are with the Vespa.
Yeah.
Because if you know anything about going to Italy, like, those fucking things are everywhere. So Luca and Alberto are up on the surface, trying to recreate Vespas out of just everyday pieces of junk.
Yeah. That's
where they meet another wonderful character who goes by the name of, is it Julia?
I was going to say Jane, to be honest.
Ramel, the Italian girl's name was Jane.
But the thing is, like, she didn't have an accent. She didn't talk like. That's the one thing that I kind of was like, all right, either every person in this movie has to talk with an Italian accent or nobody.
Right.
Because like all the fishermen talked with Italian accents, but whatever. Julia wasn't about that. So Julia brings these two boys to her home. Her gigantic, menacing father makes them pasta. Luca gets attacked by their cat.
Correct.
And basically, what the movie goes into is there is a race or a triathlon that takes place. The first prize is $9,000.
Right.
And the boys want to buy a Vespa with that $9,000. So they join Julia on her team.
The best part is that they can't afford the good, like a really brand new Vespa, so they can even with
like
those 9,000, you can only afford like the ghetto, broken up, shitty old.
It's a
Vespa.
hoopty.
Yeah,
it's rusty, but they love it.
Yeah.
They're kids. They love it.
Yeah, they don't care because they're kids and they just want a Vespa regardless.
So the one thing about the movie is also whenever the sea monsters touch water above the surface, their true form takes place. So a lot of the movie is kind of like trying to dodge water at all costs so they don't give themselves up. Until eventually, when Luca starts talking about potentially going to school with Julia, or Juliana maybe that's it.
Julieta.
Juliana.
Oh, Julieta, that's it. I think so.
That.
But it's spelt weird, isn't it? It's spelled with a G or something. Whatever. Italian girl.
Yeah.
Luca starts talking about going to school with this Italian girl. It kind of offends Alberto because Alberto just met Luca. That's his boy now. It's the only friend that he's had, the only really acquaintance that he's had since his dad left him.
A true like little kid best friendship where it's like they do everything together for like a long ass period of time. So it's like
And then vagina comes.
yes, kind of. But like in this case, I don't think that Luca,
It wasn't a lot. You're right. Yeah.
like
Luca
Luca didn't
about
choose
it.
to go to school because of the girl. He chose to go to school because he wants to be normal.
He wants more experience.
Normal.
Exactly.
He wants to know. He wants
to
to learn.
Yeah.
He wants to learn.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
He's curious about the world.
So Alberto gives himself up. Alberto jumps in the water and is like, "I'm a sea monster." Nearly gets them all killed by doing so.
Out of jealousy, kind of anger.
It was sad. It was sad. But then, in true Disney Pixar form, Luca's running this race to try to win the money,
Right.
to try to get this Vespa, to try to learn. And it starts raining. And there's a dickhead protagonist in this movie whose name I'm not even going to bother saying.
What was his name? Fucking like Luigi or some shit.
No, it was something stupid.
He looked like a mouse.
He was hilarious though.
He was a mouse. That kid was annoying.
He looked like Fred Armisen in Pixar form.
And it wasn't
Coley.
doing an Italian.
Or
Coley.
Guy was a freaking douchebag.
And wasn't he like? And I love the part where the ladies talking about that year's triathlon, and he's like, "Weren't you 16 or something like 4 years ago?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but now it's the truth. And it's like, you son of a bitch. And this kid owns the records. This kid's the Vin Diesel of this triathlon. He's winning them all. He's clearly a scumbag cheater, but whatever. So we're getting to the nitty gritty here, and Luca is a beast on a bicycle, on the bicicletta.
Correct.
He speeds away from Giacomo, whatever the hell his name is, and it starts raining. So he's like, well, I can't finish this race because I'm gonna have to give myself up. But who's there for him? Alberto,
Yes,
true
sir.
friend,
Yes,
comes
sir.
back with an umbrella, gives himself up to try to pass the umbrella to Luca. And if you couldn't figure out, they end up winning this race. There's a little bit of a confrontation. They end up winning this race, and basically the whole town realizes, sea monsters, they're just like us,
Yep.
They're good people, well, good monsters, I guess. They hang out with us. They can adapt to human form. In fact, they even Luca's grandmother has been going above the surface for months or years, she said.
Correct.
Yeah.
There were sea monsters living among them. It was a beautiful story of just, like I said, it's a coming of age story. It's a kid that wanted more, and he went out and got it. He met great friends along the way, and it also showed people on the surface, hey, maybe we shouldn't be such raging douchebags that want to harpoon everything that comes out of the sea. That's different.
I agree wholeheartedly with everything you're saying.
And it also made me very hungry.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about fake pasta.
Yeah.
Lord,
Oh my God.
that
the pasta
pesto.
that Dad made.
Yeah.
It's great.
The pasta was awesome.
It reminds me of the pasta that Wayne Newton makes in Vegas Vacation.
Oh my God.
That also
it's
looked
so
phenomenal.
good, dude.
Phenomenal.
Hold on. Can you guys see me right now or no?
You're gone.
No.
You're 3 dots. You're 3 dots moving.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, you guys can still hear me, so that's important.
Yeah. This is the technical difficulties that we deal with,
This is
everybody.
what we deal
Live.
with, folks. This is what we
Live
deal
TV.
with, folks. Anyway, so let me just try to see why. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It'll come back hopefully.
What do you mean doesn't matter?
And the thing about this movie again is if Alberto didn't do enough by coming to save Luca at the end of the race, he then pawns the Vespa that they wanted so badly,
Yup.
so Luca could go to school in Genoa.
Yup.
And that's where I lost it. That's where the waterworks cued in, because the guy, this is fucking beautiful.
Did you really
This is
start to actually
fucking
cry for that part?
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking beautiful, and then there's tears streaming down my face. Brianna thinks I'm like I have like legit depression issues when I watch things, because I just tear up now because I'm a soft bastard.
Christ. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna stop it for a second, then we'll come back in 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
But all right.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just cry now. I could be watching the Food Network and Alton Brown can make a bagel. I'll cry. It's maybe it really is something. Maybe it's something I should get checked out or like talk to somebody about. I don't know. But Luca was great.
Yeah.
I will say the ending did get the train station scene, because the thing is, it was like a little predictable. Like I knew that the kid was going to give up the Vespa, and I knew that he was going to want Luca to go to school.
Right.
But like for me, it was just like watching it. I'm like, you gave up the Vespa, did you? Gave up the Vespa.
Yeah.
Then, like when he comes out, that's when I'm like,
When
God.
he comes out of the train, exactly. It's like, oh god,
Yeah.
just go with him.
Yeah.
Just
My initial thought was, fuck, like go with him. Like, okay, both of you go fucking learn. Especially you, since you don't have a fucking family, you might as well go and learn and shit.
But he
No,
goes
he
and hangs
did.
out with
He
Juliet,
did.
his father.
I know he
Creates a family.
established himself into another family using the girl's dad. So of course, he had his own thing going on. But
I will say that there's that. Of course, it's Pixar, so there has to be like a profound lesson in it.
Always.
So there's that profound lesson where you have these two characters that they have that common interest, and they're each other's first best friend. And I really do believe that your first like love is your childhood best friend, because you cry if your parents will let you sleep over each other's houses. You want to like have secret clubs, and you want to hang out all the time and play sports together, and so it's like basically like you're inseparable. But what they go through at the end of the summer is kind of like what a lot of relationships are supposed to go through, is like they grow up, which is you start to develop your own interests and your own path and your own way, and you have to understand that you can't do everything together.
Right.
That doesn't mean that you don't support each other in the way that you're going. So they both Luca had his desires and what he wanted to go do, and then Alberto really all he wanted was like a dad and to like hang out and do what he was doing. And so they both, so it's like that like bittersweetness of we both get what we want. It just comes out like we won't be together all the time. So it was I agree it's a sweet movie. Is it the best Pixar movie I've ever seen?
No,
of course
no.
not. I would say it actually wasn't a theater release. It was an exclusive Pixar for Disney Plus.
Right.
oh,
Which I think actually was the smart choice. It's not that I don't think this movie wouldn't have performed in theaters, but considering the COVID situation, the theater situation, what movies are getting people to go out, I think making it a Disney Plus exclusive was a good move. And yeah, then there's all that talk. And I remember the main reason why I wanted to watch it was because Twitter was aflame, saying that this is basically the Pixar version of Call Me by Your Name. So I was like, let me see this movie and see what are you guys talking about?
it's like fucking like little kids.
But it's not.
Yeah.
If they're little kids, there's nothing romantic about it.
Right, just
But
being-
they're just being bros.
Kids being kids.
Kids being kids. I think there's certainly the sea monster. The allegory is definitely there. You could use it for that.
Right.
Especially in the end when they win the race, and it's like raining. The two old ladies throw away their umbrellas, and then they get rained on, and
that's
everyone
right.
realizes that they're sea monsters.
Yeah, you're right.
Like you could certainly interpret that those two women, especially at the beginning, why couldn't they have been like an old lesbian couple? And so what they like they could have been. So like what you kind of gather from it is don't judge a book by its cover. You never
Right.
know, like, who people are, what they're going through, or like,
Right.
and stuff like that. So to see that embracing of like different people at the end of the movie, they were like, "Fuck it." So
Fuck,
Right.
exactly. I
Yeah,
actually
I thought
did
that
think
was
that that's where it was gonna go. I thought that's where it was gonna
What?
go from the beginning.
What,
Gayness?
other people? Oh, gayness. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because especially the one scene. I think it's in the beginning. It's Alberto and Luca. They're like looking over the water, and Alberto puts his arm around Luca, and then Luca kind of like pauses for a second.
Yeah,
and
they
puts
have
his
a
arm
couple
around
sus
him.
moments.
I was like, okay. And you know what? And I was like, I am very cool if this is where it's gonna go, because I think
Right.
this could be a really good tale.
Right.
And regardless,
I mean, yeah, watching it, I mean, I assumed the same thing just because it's 2021 and this is just kind of,
right.
you know,
Love is
companies
love,
are
man.
these companies are trying to do this, trying to be, you know, extra pride.
but
Not
did,
to say
but
that. Not to say. No, I'm not saying that it was extra pride. I'm just saying that we're in an era where
Okay.
companies are trying to do this more
Right.
in
Yeah.
terms of like whether or not it's to fill their fucking buckets of money and just like do things just for the clout, then like, you know, whatever. But we are in this era where more of
Right.
these companies are doing this. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me, which is what I'm saying, is it wouldn't surprise me if Pixar were to do this via one of their Pixar like movies, because
Right.
if they're gonna do something gay, it would be via a Pixar movie, not like a Disney princess movie.
Right.
It would be this way. Just as
oh
like
man,
that.
I would love them to do a
So, like-
Disney princess one.
So like I just assumed, okay, maybe this is them entering that world or trying to like kind of enter that world.
I
But
think it
obviously
could
by yeah, I mean,
I think it could really do well.
it just like the only thing
know.
that at a
No?
certain point I realized, okay, this isn't gonna be that, or this isn't it, is because there are little kids, and this is just so common in
Makes sense, too.
every little kid.
yeah,
Like
That makes
every little kid goes
Your best
through
friends
this
are
at
yeah.
some point in their lives, where you meet a kid, another kid, you become super best friends.
Yep.
You cry because you can't sleep over at their house. Your parents don't let you. Like, it's just things that are, when you look at them, seem kind of sus, but they're not. It's just like,
it's children.
this
Chi-
is just
childish
children, you know,
nature,
children
yeah.
that want to hang out with each other, and then they have this. They just create these super intense relationships, because again, they're also learning about relationships,
right.
because all they really know is their parents.
Exactly.
So this is like a newer thing for children. So once I got to that point and I realized, okay, like this isn't them trying to force anything, I realized, okay, so this is a movie about that relationship you have as a child, and then I realized, okay, I've once I got to the point where the kid had to leave, and like it was just kind of one of those things where I put myself in a scenario like this, where you know, a buddy of mine, Scott, who we've had on the podcast before, we grew up together, we were best friends like growing
yeah,
up,
they were inseparable.
and he moved, like he was our next door neighbor, and he eventually moved when we were like fucking 12, and it was a super sad event. Like it was like, you know, my boy's leaving, even though he left across town, which is not the same fucking town, but it was this whole, you know, super sad event. So when that's going to that train scene, I like harken back to that scenario in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, like that's what they're trying to go here, and it did work like that. I felt that. So it was cool. I think it was really well done. I really, I mean, Pixar also, like every movie they step up like the visuals.
Yeah.
So, you know, the visuals of like Italy and the water, and like just everything looks pristine,
Looks
beautiful.
great, yeah.
Like there are some scenes where you see the landscape and the buildings, and it looks like it's real and not a cartoon,
Right.
because of how good the quality is. So, of course, like they do that. It's just, this is obviously wasn't. I don't think that it was as deep of a movie as previous Pixar movies, so which is why I don't, immediately rank it up top, but it definitely felt Pixar. I felt the depth of something there. I learned a little bit of something. I remembered something. So I feel like they got me where they were trying to get me, and that's a win for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Regardless of whether or not I think that's top Pixar movie.
It strikes the question because I saw the teaser trailer for their next for Pixar's next project, which is just a teaser, so it doesn't give too much information. But with Luca and kind of getting a taste of what that's going to be, it's about like a girl who turns into like a red panda.
Right.
Wait,
the next one is the panda one, or I thought the next one was the Colombian one.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, but Encanto is Disney. It's not Disney Pixar.
Oh, so Encanto is like
it's a Disney animated movie.
It's like what's it called? Let It Go, Frozen, right? Where Frozen,
sure, if you want to rank it, kind of like it's a Disney
Frozen
animated.
Is animated, but it's not Pixar. It's like its own animated.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
Always remember that Pixar is a subsidy of Disney.
Correct. Yeah.
So this
I think where I get confused is that once Disney itself started doing their own movies that are animated, the same animation style as Pixar, then they kind of in my head came together.
Yeah.
So I didn't separate the two. So like to me, Frozen was part of Pixar, but then it really wasn't.
No. The movies are kind of making me wonder if Pixar is trying to lean away from existential crisis and Sobfest movies because
Are
Luca.
they though?
No, because Luca. I know that's what I'm wondering when I see because when I see that project, I'm curious to see what they're trying to give us with it. And then with like the Luca movie, where you had projects like Soul, was literally about death and the meaning of life.
I mean,
You like, okay, come on, kids, let's go watch this.
I mean, Gab, Soul was about as deep as you can possibly try to get.
But I'm saying, Soul wasn't the only Pixar project that did. Toy Story 3 had.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that Pixar has not pumped the brakes at all on depth.
I would say Luca. I mean, you just said it. I don't think Luca was that profound of a movie.
Oh, yeah, right.
Luca
you're talking about in terms of Luca, in terms of Luca compared to those. Yes. Okay.
And how I felt about the kind of just the feel of that panda movie that they're promoting. I'm wondering if they are trying to step away from their trend of constantly trying to make people sob in their seats and have like existential things and try to create lighter material. So that's kind of where I'm wondering if that's what they might be wanting to do, which is totally fine. It's just that for 20-something years now, we're used to Pixar fucking with our psychological health.
Yes, 100%. Make you question life. A lot of things. They're
Yeah.
good at what they do. They are good at what they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Okay. Yeah. I like Luca.
Like you said, it's not their best work, but it's a solid time at the streaming. Yeah,
And it does its job of selling stuffed animals and toys because the colors of the sea people. Like, I'm sure kids would want some Luca and what's his name, Alberto dolls.
Yeah. And I'm not an Italian, so I don't know. I've never been there, but I assume from what I've seen, from what I saw, and like what I've seen in movies and TV and pictures and stuff, that they were pretty good on the authenticity of like Italy and that culture.
I think they were.
So it looks like they did their job there. I mean, they haven't really fucked up too bad when it comes to doing the research for these movies.
Yeah, no, they're very
they're very in depth when it comes to knowing preparing for these kind of movies where it's outside of the United States.
Definitely. Yeah. They're definitely good at what they do for sure.
Yeah.
Scores?
One last thing. I don't know if you mentioned this, Fico, but I would do that triathlon where one of the events is eating pasta.
Oh yeah.
You have to eat the pasta before you get on the bike.
Yeah, I know.
So you just swim.
You carbo load.
Oh. Actually, it probably could work.
Everyone was making fun of the girl for throwing up, and I'm like, bitch, of course she throws up.
We saw Michael Scott do this in The Office. He ate fettuccine alfredo before doing a 5K, and then by the end he looked like he was pale and he threw up. It happens.
It's
Carbo load. It's called a carbo load or whatever.
absolutely
the hell
true.
however you call it.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Italians are built different.
Okay, yeah. Scores. I'll let you guys go first.
Out of 10, right?
Are we going back to 10 or are we on 5?
Were we on 5?
I thought we were still doing 5. Oh, God. No
Let's
decimals
go back to 10. Let's go back to 10.
Let's go back to 10?
Yeah, let's go back to 10. No decimals, just 1 out of 10.
One rating. Everyone knows the rules. Go ahead.
We changed ratings like 4 times.
Just keep going. Fuck it.
All right, go ahead, Gab. 1 out of 10.
Oh, me, 6.
6. Okay. Fee.
7.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 7 as well. I think it was good. It wasn't great,
Right.
but it was okay. It was good. It was
fine.
And it's not a movie. It's not a movie that I'm like. If somebody tells me, "Oh, I've never seen Luca," I wouldn't have a problem watching it again with them.
Yeah.
You know, like if somebody said, "Hey, can I watch Luca? I haven't seen it. I'd watch it again." Sure, why not?
Yeah.
I'm a prick. I'd be like, no, go watch it on your own time.
But I wouldn't. I don't think that I would watch it again just like on my own.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
voluntarily.
Yeah,
Voluntarily, like no, I'm not gonna really need to watch it again just because I don't have to. I got the point the first time.
Yeah.
It's not like Up, where Up is like I've seen
Sure.
Up probably 3 or 4 times.
I can't
Can't
watch
do it.
it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do
And
it.
that's the only reason why it's only been 3 or 4 times is because of the first 15 minutes,
Just fucking terrible.
and that's just
I
like just way too much.
Can't do that. I can't do that. I saw it I saw it for the first time on a plane. Sobbed.
Yeah.
Everyone saw it.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
yeah.
And the end when he finally looks at the adventure book and what she wrote, like I'm getting choked up right now.
It's bad, man. It's
What
bad,
she
it's
writes
bad.
to him at the end in the adventure book.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Here come the depressed tears again. Here we go.
But now, you know what? Kind of
What is love?
What kind of ruined the first 15 minutes for me is the It's Always Sunny episode when they do a Charlie, like the same story, but it's him and the waitress.
And the dream
like,
bog?
No, there's an episode of It's Always Sunny where they animated Charlie and the waitress in that type of scene where the like he grows old with her, she dies, he becomes the Rat King or something.
Yes.
It's fucking hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
I have to see that. I've never seen an anime.
I can't believe you've never seen that.
I've never seen that
Yeah,
episode.
you gotta pull that up. Yeah, pull that
I'll
up.
send you
right
the.
away.
Yeah.
Right away.
So 776. Okay, cool. Let's move on to Black Widow. We just saw Black Widow. We'll finish with Gossip Girl because that's more just shitting on something. But Black Widow, me and Gab saw it. I don't know if Angelo saw it, but
I didn't, but I heard enough about it where I'm glad I didn't watch it. If that,
Excuse me? Ramel, can I introduce this?
Actually, Gab,
Go ahead.
go ahead and introduce it, and then
I am the resident nerd here. Let's give some respect to my name. Black Widow, latest movie in the MCU, released in theaters. We have literally been waiting for this movie since May of 2020 when it was originally supposed to release, but the pandemic kept having it be pushed off. Their whole schedule got fucked up, so finally we get this movie about a year late. It's about Black Widow. It takes place pretty much immediately after the events of Captain America Civil War in the MCU timeline. Black Widow is on the run for kind of turning heel against those in favor of the Registration Act with the UN, and she has fled to some beautiful-ass European country where she's reacquainted with her past and the infamous Red Room and their new agent, Taskmaster, who is a very big villain in the Marvel mythos. In that, she's also reintroduced to her family, her quote-unquote family, who are also agents of, I guess, the Red Room and the Soviet Union, like her adopted little sister, Yelena Belova, played by the beautiful and super talented Florence Pugh.
Love Florence Pugh.
Love Florence Pugh. Like, her... I knew... Okay, that was a little bit weird, like a love. That was a little... That was a little Val Venus.
A little bit.
I will be watching future Black Widow projects now.
Okay. Sure. If you, all right, I guess. I get it. She's very talented.
Talented. Go ahead.
She
talented.
is. She. All right. Both of you. Let's keep it. Let's keep it. All right.
Keep it
Yeah, she is really good. The first time I saw her was in Midsommar, and that shit was first of all, the movie was fucking crazy and was fucking nuts. But she was very good in it as the protagonist female that eventually becomes fucking nuts and does crazy shit.
My first time seeing her was in the remake for Little Women, and I remember
she was in there. Yeah.
She plays the youngest sister, and she blew me away because in the book and in like the original movie, there's supposed to be like a very distinct age difference between her in the past and her in the future because she's the youngest sister. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, they have the same actress playing both past and future.
Right.
How do they do that? And she just so intelligently is able to play that naive, immature, youthful airness to her, that cheekiness to her in the young version, and how she's able to play a very sophisticated young woman as the older version. And I'm just like, that requires talent to be able to pull off what she did in that movie. Right. So when I found out she was joining the MCU, I was like, we're in for something. She's definitely going to, whatever role they're giving her, she's going to be very good in. And I think in a lot of ways in this movie, she stole the show. She stole a lot of the show. No offense to ScarJo.
Yeah, ScarJo's awesome too. Like,
ScarJo does her thing.
I've been a fan of ScarJo for a while, and she's great. She's not a terrible actress, and she has done a really good job with all the action scenes and everything. It's just
Oh no, I'm just saying that I'm really excited for the new Black Widow. And that's
we're just saying that Florence is just, we're excited for that change.
The Russian accent, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Her quips and how she delivers like the humor and the chemistry with the rest of the cast, fantastic. She has her own fight sequences which are great. Nah, man, she's it. She's the real deal. I thought she was fantastic in this movie. I think I don't know I always forget. We wouldn't be the Small Screen Society if we didn't know actors' names.
Of course.
The actor from Stranger Things who gets to play Red Guardian.
He's in a whole bunch of things and we don't know his name. He should be more of a household name at this point, but
yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
He's in a whole bunch of stuff. The fact that we don't know that guy's name,
it's really, guys.
It's just I want to say Edward.
I'm feeling like a Roger.
No, not Roger. Not
like
Roger.
A Roger is in there.
David Harbour?
David Harbour. That sounds like it. That guy.
That's the guy. Yeah, that's the guy.
The sheriff?
The sheriff. Yeah,
the sheriff. Yeah.
Big Daddy Dave.
Okay. Yeah.
He
David
plays Red
Harbour
Guardian.
or Harborough.
Harbor. Yeah. All right, we're professional.
Yeah.
He plays Red Guardian, who was basically the Soviet Union's version of Captain America. Like they're trying to create their own super soldier. So they made him, and he really bought into like the propaganda and the ideology of the Soviet message, and how he sold out the two little girls when they were little to the Red Room to become like the lethal agents with like their uteruses like scraped out and shit. But I think
lost Gab a little bit, losing Gab a little bit.
Kind of gone on me. He is going. That goal is gone, but not forgotten.
Wait, what? I'm gone?
Wait a minute. Coming back.
Slowly but surely coming back. Come on.
You're loud and
Was I
clear
gone?
now.
I don't hear him yet.
I do have that little. I have a pop-up on my screen that says Gabriel Pino's video has been disabled due to internet quality issues. And there he goes.
Hold on, that's
So I think what Gab was trying to say is this movie, at its core, is
I'm still right here.
Good.
Hold on. Let's pause for a sec, and then let's regroup. Hold on.
Out of not in the frame.
No, it's only just not in this view here. We are back. ladies and gentlemen.
Due to technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties, of course, because this wouldn't be us without technical difficulties.
If we ever change
But
the name of this
we are
podcast
back.
again, let's just name it that. Just name it Technical Difficulties.
Very true.
It
very
should
true.
be called technical difficulties. That should be the name
Very,
of our
very
podcast.
true.
Why are we called anything else?
So we were, and now that we've already rebranded,
Fuck it. He'll do it again.
okay, boys. So we were discussing Black Widow.
Talking about Black Widow and the performances of the actors and
Right.
the supporting cast, I think I remember the thread I was trying to get on was that out of all the Marvel solo movies, this is probably the one where I felt there was the best cohesion and chemistry between the actors.
Okay.
So between like Red Guardian, Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, Florence Pugh's Yelena, and
Right.
again can't remember names. Other one who played the mom. I think her name was Melina. I might be wrong. I'm thinking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, no idea.
But the four of them had such great chemistry that I still haven't decided, is it because it's the newest Marvel movie and it's been a year since we've gotten new content, or is this genuinely my new favorite solo Marvel movie? Because let's be clear, I want to be very clear, the Marvel solo movies, for the most part, are pretty forgettable. Like, they're not anything, like, revolutionary or anything that stands out. They all kind of tend to follow the same formula. I wouldn't consider Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War solo movies.
I mean, if you're gonna go this route, where you're gonna consider this a solo movie and not Winter Soldier, or I guess if you're gonna look at it as in this regard, that she doesn't really have any other Avenger type characters in this movie, then okay, this was up there in terms of quality. Overall, up there. I don't know if it's number one. I would say maybe Iron Man 1 would be better because of what it did to me in terms of like, okay, this is, and at the time that it came out, this was like, it was awesome. But this one was up there, maybe top 3.
Yeah.
Really?
The fight sequences also in this movie were... Because I told Ramel when we sat down to watch this movie, when it comes to the action, what I'm really hoping for is something that gets to that street-level grittiness of Winter Soldier.
Figo, I don't know if you've ever seen the Jason Bourne movies.
Yeah.
But the fighting sequences are like Jason Bourne-esque.
Okay, so the person who I talked to this movie about clearly didn't actually watch it then.
Yeah. So it's like...
Fair.
Obviously, I don't... It's a Marvel movie, so like obviously it's like, you know, corny,
It's for the formula.
Yeah, it's got the corny, like there's a bad guy in it that is that its power or whatever thing it does is it mimics everybody. Like, it sees someone and it can literally mimic every movement that they make, like fighting style, how they use like weapons. So this thing, it mimics her fighting style, but it also throughout the movie is clearly mimicking the other Avengers.
Oh.
So like it has like a shield that it throws just like it does Captain America. So you're watching it and you're watching it fight and you're going, "Oh, it's doing that guy. It's doing that guy."
Shit. Okay.
So it's cool because you're seeing that, and then it's also like the fighting sequences are really well done and action packed, and it isn't just like a bunch of dudes fighting. It's like these like women. It's like a Wonder Woman type movie where it's just like these bunch of women just, you know, fucking fighting. It's awesome.
It's a street level women cast ensemble.
Right. It's not like
which
it's
is
not like,
unique.
Right. It's not like it again. It's in this regard where it's not like Wonder Woman. It's like there's no extra powers. There isn't like bolts of lightning shooting out and a fucking magic lasso. It's punching and kicking and grappling,
getting thrown through
glass, getting thrown through out of buildings,
bleeding all over the store. Like it's just like real like fists. Like it's a good. It's it captured that Winter Soldier thing that I wanted to see. Right. And remember, the Jason Bourne comparison is actually a pretty good comparison here because it does encapsulate a lot of just that.
Because like you watch the Jason Bourne movies, it's like the camera's following him around while he's jumping from building to building.
It's a very like first person shoot. Yeah.
It's like it's that style of fighting where it's really just like you hear the thud of each punch.
Okay.
And you actually are like, ooh, with some of like how they're like getting like tossed around.
Right.
The stunt doubles better have been paid like brilliantly for, because there's a lot of things I'm like, I don't know if that's a dummy. I think that's a real person who just got thrown through that glass window. Yeah.
So
it's excellent.
It's definitely really good in terms of that in that regard.
So Ramel, you mentioned the villain in the this is Ramel, you mentioned the villain of the movie, Taskmaster, who's able to do that. So the nerd terminology for this is spoiler alert, she is a muscle mimic. That's the terminology for it. So basically, she's copying Captain America, Black Panther, Hawkeye, Black Widow. She's copying everyone just because she's able to kind of like record moves and styles of fighting, and that makes her extremely lethal.
That's sick.
Taskmaster in the comics is male. This time around, they just they tried a little twist. Why not make her a woman? I'm sure when I found that out, I was like, let's stay off Twitter for a few hours because I'm sure there are people who have a really big issue with this. Personally,
I'm not. Fanboys hate it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, hating it. I'm not super invested into Taskmaster as a character, but the female character who plays Taskmaster in this movie is not trying to replace the comic book character. So there's still, I would say, if people are really like over it, there's a space for that to happen, for that person to join. But I think it was the movie was I thought it was fucking fantastic.
It was really cool. It's not something that you're gonna at the end of it you're gonna. I don't think as long as you like action movies, it's a watchable movie. It's not like it's don't go into it expecting fucking a perfect movie. To me it's there's moments where it's the dialogue parts are like and I'm kind of you kind of zone out a little bit in terms of for me, but that's just because I don't care as much about the story.
Right, you just want the action.
Particularly the Black Widow story. I just doesn't interest me, but it's not because it's it just doesn't I don't find it interesting. So but I'm watching it and then you immediately get back into it when they start you get to the action scenes,
right?
And then there's a little bit of that like comedic relief because what's his name, the David guy, he's supposed to be this Captain America, but Captain America you watch him and he's like this big stacked dude that was frozen and comes back like with his younger self, but in the the 2000s, whereas this guy was the same thing in the 60s or 70s or whatever, but he was never frozen, so he just got fat and shitty. But he still has like the strength and the speed and like the shit that Captain America has, but just looks like shit.
That's amazing.
Like there's moments where, and then he was in jail, so like he's all tatted up and like disgusting. So it's just like he's like a funny guy.
Hilarious.
And, it's just
he did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, he did a great job of doing that. But for them, I mean, I liked it. I thought I was gonna hate it because I really just don't care at all about the Black Widow story, and also, spoiler alert if you haven't seen them, but this shouldn't really be a spoiler anymore. She dies in fucking Endgame.
Yeah, right.
So why do I care about seeing a movie about a character that dies later, and then in reality when I didn't care about her character back then?
Yeah, and because that was something, I mean, personally, going into this movie, it was a very big question for me. Why should the audience care when we know Natasha's fate? Right. What are you doing with this movie that's supposed to be like, that we should be invested?
Because
and I think
it's not like this is like a grand prequel thing that leads to a much bigger thing, like the Star Wars prequels. It's just like, you know.
But I beg to differ. I think it actually, by the end of the movie and with the end credit scene, that is actually what it does, because what we got was a Black Widow movie that was ultimately an origin for the new Black Widow.
What I was gonna say is, I don't think that it was my going into not wanting to watch it was because I didn't think that this was gonna be this, like, I didn't think this was necessary. But after having watched it, I realized, okay, this was a very good way to introduce the new one that's going to happen, while still giving Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow a good way to send her off that wasn't just dying roses in Endgame.
And that she was the only, like, one of the only big OG Avengers characters who didn't get a solo project.
Right. So I think it was well deserved, because the way she dies in Endgame, I didn't like either.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good way to send her off, which is at least a full movie. She gets to do all the action shit, all the cool stuff, and then also at the same time, it's passing the torch to the other one.
So Fico and Ramel didn't see the end credit scene either, but what ends up happening is that by the very end of the movie, for the end credit scene, also remember, Fico, from Endgame, that this Black Widow takes place in between Infinity War and Civil War. So
after the Thanos does the snap.
No, before.
Before that.
This happens before that. This happens after Civil War.
Oh.
So it's
remember that.
Civil War, yeah. Okay.
And then remember, there's a 5-year gap from the snap to Endgame.
Right.
Or like during Endgame, there's a 5-year gap.
Yeah. He Thanos in Infinity War, Thanos does the snap, kills half the population, and then there's 5 years between the snap and then when Endgame starts.
Well, Endgame picks up kind of like right at the snap, and then like 5 minutes in they do the 5. But yeah, pretty much that's semantics. But yeah, it's pretty much the case.
Yeah.
So when we get the post-credit scene in Black Widow with Yelena, it's after the 5-year gap of Endgame.
Okay, gotcha.
So she is visiting Natasha's grave. So she's put her pictures and stuff there, so she's been very much taken care of, which is why I say that the movie was pivotal, because it doesn't just introduce us to the new Black Widow, but it gives that emotional connection and that chemistry between her and Natasha.
Yeah.
It shows that when we have this post-credit scene and seeing Natasha's grave and her standing there, we actually kind of feel her pain with her.
Right.
Because Fico, what she does, what Florence Pugh does so wonderful in this movie, and like any movie she does, is how she's able to communicate emotion so strongly. And for her, being the younger sister, they grew up in like this fake family with the Red Guardian and this other secret agent. But for her, being like 4 years old or 5-6 years old,
she believed the whole
that was her family.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like that was her mom and her dad, and that was her sister. Right. So to grow up, to become a murdering agent, and then to find out that none of it was real, like, for having such a shitty life, that fake thing is what she held on to. As the only good thing she had. So Natasha clearly meant the world to her, and so for her death, like, that has to be just another heavy, like, everything sucks thing.
Right.
So you have Ramel hasn't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus, famous for Seinfeld, Veep.
Veep.
She is now a member of the MCU as a character known as Valentina de Fontaine, kind of like a very bitchy, dry, sarcastic anti-government agent, kind of like secret ops person. And so she shows up while Yelena is at the grave, and we find out that they know each other. Yelena actually works for Valentina de Fontaine, so she's a murdering agent for her, and she's there basically to give her next job, which is to go after Hawkeye, and says that Hawkeye's the reason why your sister is dead. And remember, in Endgame, remember, it's Hawkeye and Black Widow
Right.
that are trying to get the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
So for this fall, the Hawkeye show, that will be Florence Pugh's next.
Oh, nice.
So
project
she'll show up in that
as
as Black
yeah.
Widow
as a villain, basically trying, and that introduces the possibility that what's going on here is that they're also trying to create what's called the Thunderbolts. They're kind of like the Marvel Suicide Squad, kind of like a more dark, gritty, violent, bloody Avengers team.
Okay.
We've already been introduced to some of them here. They've been popping up kind of sporadically here and there.
Is Deadpool part of that yet?
Deadpool, I don't think is a member of Thunderbolts, but Deadpool's joining the MCU. So how they're going to use him, I don't.
They had no choice. You have to have. I mean, those Deadpool movies are super successful. People love Deadpool.
Yeah.
So Deadpool 3 is happening.
And you don't want to. And if you're Disney, hey man, I know you guys are PG, but you got to figure this out some way. Like,
you got to pull the ropes back here and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think they will. They got to stick with the R rating, or I don't know how that's going to work. But
it's got to be R rated.
Got to be R.
I need to see a guy going through a wood chipper.
It's not good.
It's not good,
man. You know what I mean?
Oh god, it's so good. Yeah. So Ramel, I don't feel you didn't see it, but Ramel, if you have a score for Black Widow,
I give it a 7.
Oh, that's higher than I was expecting.
7. Not bad. It wasn't bad.
8.
Okay.
I'm glad we had this conversation because the loser that I spoke to, who clearly didn't watch the film, said that this movie was the worst Marvel film since Iron Man 2.
Oh no!
And that
reasoning?
There are worse movies.
Was not
movies
believable. The characters didn't like pull him in. Like he wasn't like invested in the characters, and he just saw it just because it was available for him to watch at the time. So that being said, I might have been duped, and I'll probably watch the film now.
Yeah, I say give it a watch. I think there's really strong performances from the David Harbour and Florence Pugh specifically. I think the two of them really steal the show, and they have one scene together, particularly towards the latter half of the second act, going into the third. That actually did make me tear up. It actually did make me tear up. It was just clever editing, taking some clever storytelling, taking a very subtle thing from the very beginning of the movie, bringing it in at that moment, and it's so small, but how it just completely it gives you the idea of really where the heart is of Red Guardian. And again, Florence Pugh just able to communicate so much with just her face. That girl's gonna win it. I was gonna say bitch. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna disrespect her.
You're not doing that.
I'm not doing that. That girl's gonna win an Oscar. You just have to wait for her moment. But she's gonna get one. She's way too talented.
Good movie. Okay, so let's switch gears here to something that we probably have to discuss, even though we don't really have to discuss it, but I think that it's important to discuss it. And that's Gossip Girl. Now,
I know nothing about anything involving Gossip Girl. I know nothing.
Which is fine. I wish I didn't know, but I do know.
Okay.
It's one of those things. It's just one of those things where I wish I didn't, but I do, and it just is what it is. So because I saw this was coming out, I was like, well, now I feel like I have to see it because I've seen the original, and it
so this is a
would
film?
Be...
Is it a film or
it's
a
a
series?
Series.
Okay.
Series.
Yeah. So
An
this
HBO
was,
Max
and
series.
you know, and I'm assuming you at least know that this was a series in like the early 2000s. Or
Yes.
Late 2000s.
I remember hearing about
with
people
Blake Lively and a whole other random, bunch of fucking kids.
I feel like it's been referenced in films a lot too.
Yeah, and basically it's like the show about these rich upper
East Siders.
East Side upper echelon rich high school kids at a school in the city, and it's like basically just a show about their lives, and this somebody at the school follows them around and writes a blog pertaining to their lives, and it's called Gossip Girl. So basically, it's like all these people are doing these fucking crazy shit, and Gossip Girl just knows everything and spreads all the rumors and does everything. And everybody knows everything that's happening to these kids because of Gossip Girl.
It's basically it's what made Perez Hilton famous, because Perez Hilton basically made a blog that was very Gossip Girl-esque about celebrities.
Right, like this Gossip Girl was like a TMZ. It was everywhere.
Okay.
And it just
whenever,
the original Gossip Girl would get would get tidbits and stuff from like people on the street, like kids like taking pictures of stuff and then sending them to Gossip Girl. So the person was getting like a bunch of like info and sources,
right,
filling them in on the lives of like the popular kids.
Right. And then it turns out at the end that one of the characters was Gossip Girl. Very stupid ending, very terrible.
Because they never planned it.
The show wasn't good. It
bad.
Was just one of those shows that you just like. It's so bad that you watch it, but you're kind of interested because I really don't have an explanation for continuing to have watched it.
Okay.
It's just something that you just
good.
Watched.
Gossip Girl, the original Gossip Girl, was just
good
at selling it was good at selling the crap that it was serving.
Yeah.
It was just really good.
Like picture us in high school, like we're 17 years old, but we somebody goes, yo man, let's go to that fucking party at the Smithfield, which is like, this like super uppity rich bar. And they're like 17 and they're just in the bar all hanging out with like
cocktails and sex.
like whiskey neat,
sex,
dressed in full suits and like they look like
lingerie.
They look like they're fucking 28,
25,
30 years old, but they're 17.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like having sex and like they're doing all this shit, and it's a
They're
show that's supposed to be about
problems.
high school, but it looks like they're all 30.
Wait a minute, though. Wait a minute. You try to use the analogy of us in high school, and let's be frank. Us in high school were doing some shit that like you really don't do until you're in your mid-20s, late 20s.
That's very
of course.
The only thing that we weren't doing in high school that they were doing in this show was dressing really nicely because we didn't have the funds.
Correct. Yeah.
To be honest with you, if I could do it all over again, I probably would. I'd probably
honest. Yep.
Walk in the halls looking like I was from fucking Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is Fee
and actually,
wearing a three-piece suit?
There were some wealthy kids who like rocked like pearls and like Chanel and like some label stuff.
You're right.
There was, but like
so if all of us as a whole were very, very rich, I think we would have done the things that they were doing in the show.
The only thing that wasn't believable in the show was that these establishments were letting them come in and do this stuff.
Right.
That's the only thing that was not believable.
But remember that these are the kids of these parents that are like the money makers and that control the city. So
that's a good point.
Why they're able to do these things, because hey, my dad's fucking John G. Rockefeller. Like, I could shut this motherfucker down. You know what I
mean?
Right.
Yeah. They're not gonna not let you sit in and like do it right.
True.
So so anyway, so that's the backstory. The new show came out. It's supposed to be the same fucking thing. Gab, I don't know. You do it. You're the one that understands this a little better.
All right. So, the new Gossip Girl is not a reboot, is a continuation. As in, it just takes place 9 years after the ending of the original series. So, the original characters, there's Easter eggs, they're hinted at, they still exist in this universe. It's just now a new generation, specifically Gen Z.
Yeah.
So, what the premiere episode wants to do is it introduces us to the new group of friends. You didn't watch the original Gossip Girl, but basically these new characters all have almost like a doppelganger of the original cast. Like they all fit. One of them is very much what's like the Chuck Bass, are very hypersexual, drinking, druggy, weird, slurred speech, all about the sax.
Yeah.
Sax.
But
you
what's interesting here is that they do this obviously in a very 2021 way, where it's all the like the original cast is just like 7 white people, guys and girls, just 7 fucking regular rich white people.
Right.
And then you've got this new cast that's all diverse. There's like I think
for the most part.
For the most
part,
there's I think 3 black chicks, an Asian guy where looks Asian, could be
he's
Latino
from Hawaii.
too.
He's from Hawaii.
And
Pacific Islander.
Pacific Islander. Right?
Yeah.
So
So like
Luna Law, one of the henchmen, she's actually Mexican, so she is Latina.
Okay, yeah. So they made it more diverse, but also kept the personality styles of those
to their
characters
original
the same,
counterparts. Yeah. You have your, I wouldn't say she's Serena, but fine, I guess Julian's like Serena. You have your Jenny Humphreys with the new main Zora, the new main character. You have your Penn Badgley's Dan Humphreys and the kid with the rich guilt. You have
this rich kid who does like
hates being rich.
Hates
does
being rich, even though he's the richest of the group. He hates being rich, so he does like protests and he goes out and like gives feeds people that are protesting and things like
cheeky.
that to feed his rich guilt.
His rich guilt.
That's fantastic.
You have a character Aubrey who's supposed to be our Blair Waldorf. I haven't totally seen it yet. Blair's the icon of the original show, so that's trying to fill really big shoes, but I guess that's the comparison. You have Ak, who is, I think, is supposed to be our Nate. He's the Hawaiian character who's so there's a lot of parallels between the original cast and like Ramel saying, but just a more diversified 2021 way of presenting it. And that's not the only thing for 2021. Rather than do it as the blog, which is the original Gossip Girl, the new Gossip Girl is an Instagram account. So
I like that. That's a nice touch. That's a nice touch.
So it's an anonymous Instagram account that is following the lives of Manhattan's elite.
Hold on, you forgot one thing. So in the beginning of the episode, the entity that wants to bring back Gossip Girl.
Getting to that.
First attempts to do it via Twitter.
Right.
But it fails because apparently nobody uses Twitter. That's like
under 30.
Under 30.
Fucking excuse me?
Correct. So then
Pico.
So then they switch to Instagram, and that's the more successful one, and that's what it becomes. But we'll get to the problems with the episode.
There's a lot of problems with the episode. Where I feel that the show succeeds for its first episode, of the season, is the production quality has skyrocketed.
Yeah, it's HBO.
It has that
it's HBO
money.
So it's like fucking nuts.
The shots of New York makes me want to get back on NJ Transit, tolerate that shit, get a dirty martini at some bar. Yeah. Like, it's like that chicness, the new Gossip Girl logo, lettering is very
crazy
vogue.
Is the original Gossip Girl did that too, but this literally just upped the ante of wanting to be in New York City.
Okay.
Yes.
The original was like WB11 or whatever the fuck it is.
It was like stock. Yeah, it was cable news 11 stock footage.
And even still, that looked like, oh fuck, I want to be at that party in New York City.
Yeah.
But now it's like HBO. We're looking at the quality of like the Zendaya show.
Euphoria.
Like that quality of production. Mm-hmm. Just like in New York City, so you're like, oh man, this is awesome.
They make it look crisp and delicious.
Yeah.
Even the steps at the Met, which are featured in the original Gossip Girl, make them look way better.
Right.
At the halls of Constance Billard, which is the private school that they go to,
yep.
It just all, and of course now, for any fan who's about like fashion and style, they're all wearing latest trend stuff. So it's like if you're into that shit, it's present and accounted for. They've just really feed you what the cliche or common spirit of New York is. It's fashion, it's bouginess, it's richness, and it's style, and that's all there. So from the original Gossip Girl, that's present again. Succeed in that 1,000,000%. The other thing that I like is some of the characters caught my interest, not all of them. Right. I'm going to be fair. It's one episode in. I'm also going to be fair. The original Gossip Girl was a bad show, so So this does not have to be Emmy-nominated quality television. It's just supposed to be fun.
The original plot, the plots were fucking atrocious. It was
Atrocious.
just bad, like corny TV. So this more than likely should continue that trend.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just on a much higher quality level in terms of like visuals and things like that. So it's fine.
It's fine. That I will give it.
We are not expecting Sopranos style plot here.
Right.
No.
Right.
And if
It's
you do,
rich
and if you're
kids with
somebody,
problems.
if you're somebody who does,
Don't watch.
don't watch the show
Got it.
because you're in for a rude awakening when you get to like these episodes and it's like a girl is mad at the other girl for wearing the same dress.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
get out of here.
Okay.
The other thing that's positive is, and this is a golden rule: if it's not broke, don't fix
fix
it.
it.
Yeah.
They needed to bring back. They needed to get a voice for Gossip Girl. The original voice was iconic. Kristen Bell is back doing the voice of Gossip Girl. It's just not. To me, it's the equivalent, and older people would probably get mad at me. No other actor could do the voice of Charlie through the machine for Charlie's Angels.
Right.
The same way I'm like, if you're gonna for Gossip Girl, it has to be Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
It can't be anyone else. Like you gotta get her back.
It's a very very specific voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how she does it is great. It's petty and it's like, but sassy. It's great.
So that's the good stuff.
That's the good stuff, and that's all the good stuff. Now let's get to the shit.
Yeah.
This show, out the gates,
it's
blazing.
super mean to us, dude.
It's so
older
mean
folk.
to us,
Yes.
to
To the people that paved the
millennials,
And to the people,
to the generation that
Yeah.
made the show
Right.
what it was.
Our age people were the ones that watched it when the shit was out, and like made it popular. Like mostly the girls, but like our age watched this show when it came out.
And they want to shit on us.
Now there's a new one.
to.
There's a new one that is supposed to try to get a new audience, but man, at the expense of us.
Like when it started, I was like, oh, that's a jab. And then like 5 minutes later, I was like, okay, we get it. And then it was like,
So they're just coming out headshotting us left and
Oh
right.
yeah.
First of all,
They're pieces of
they get one of the teachers. Oh my god! One of the teachers says comes up and says like, oh yeah, I'm from the class of '09. Fico, I'm from the class of '08. No disrespect to anyone. Aging is a beautiful thing. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone's gorgeous. But sweetie, you are not the class of '09.
No, she looked at least 45.
She was in her for like.
You should
And I'm like,
you sure she didn't mean like 99? Like
No. She said 09. She
oh
said
09.
Yeah.
I saw the episode twice, and I put my ear
Yeah.
I was like, when she was gonna say it again, and she was
So
like,
they really that
09.
was like the first scene where you're like, wow,
We're old weathered pieces of shit.
we're old. We're supposed to be the old weathered motherfuckers, and we're 30 in our 30s.
I'm
And
gonna fight the show. I'm gonna find a way to physically.
You know what I mean? It was like it kind of hurt. Like it.
no, I paused and did a lap because I wasn't sure. Am I supposed to feel disrespected?
I feel bad that we're saying this because of the look of the female that they use for the 09, because obviously
She looks weathered.
they
I'm not-
purposely
no,
I
it's
feel
not-
like they purposely made her look older.
They definitely.
So to really give us that like
No, they definitely.
jab.
Definitely a
to
bit of trolling.
me,
there.
it's not. To me, it wasn't about that saying like, oh, she looks bad. I'm
Yeah.
saying that she does not look like someone that you are alleging is
Yes.
29, 30 years old.
Right.
And what
Yeah.
what they're trying to push is to really show like millennials, us, that we are way older. Like we're just full blown old, washed up adults.
Right.
And that was the first thing, and I took it as like, okay, let's keep going. Then Ramel made that comment about the Twitter thing
Yeah.
and how no one under 30 is using Twitter.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
And
You're
I was
missing
like, fuck you.
Yeah, you're missing out because
First-
Twitter's the superior
Okay.
form of social media.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so we get it. Millennials use Twitter. Shut up.
Yeah.
And then when they're at a bar and they're talking about all these different types of apps and stuff like that. They're like, no one uses Uber. Don't interrupt to say YouTube. YouTube is disgusting.
Yeah, like it's
And
like what the
I'm like,
fuck are you saying?
I'm like, YouTube started with us.
Yeah. Like
Kids are
YouTube, I think
kids are
YouTube started literally in 04 or 05. Like that was like
No,
the first.
YouTube started in, and I will tell you, started in the beginning of 07.
Oh.
Even more so then.
Yeah, even more so. Sure. Like that's
Beginning of
like,
07.
you know what I mean? Like, we brought these things up. We're the reason why these things are so big.
And like I get that it's because it's supposed to be for like a high school audience, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Kids
cool
in
high school.
Kids in high school now are the ones that are watching this.
Yeah, but you don't gotta take
And
any
to
shit
be
on
honest-
us.
And to be honest,
But what's the thing that like kids like? Hey, adults.
right.
So it goes. So it's trying to feed into this like, oh yeah, those stupid like old wash. And that's a real conversation. The
It's so
friction
fucked
between
up. It's so fucked up.
the friction.
Calling me an adult is
That's disrespectful.
it's
I'm not a fucking
it's-
adult.
I'm not an adult.
I'm 34 years old, but I like.
Guys, we're not even done with the disrespect.
I
Like, I'm not
act,
done with it.
I act like I'm fucking 19 years old sometimes.
Yeah,
You see me down the
yeah.
shore, I'm doing things
Yeah.
that a person my age should not do. I go places that a person my age should not go.
I come
but
home
I'm
from
there.
work. I come home from work and I play video games.
That's kind of old.
I'm
you know.
34.
I read
bro.
comic books. I'm 31. I have action figures.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if I have anything like that.
Oh shit.
Should I not have amended that?
I'm
Sailor Moon-
literally, I'm
there's
literally
Sailor Moon
looking
figures
for
here,
something.
too.
I mean,
The action figure.
I got Funko Pops.
Okay, but see, Funko Pops you can kind of get away with, Gab. The action figures were, you were showing a little bit.
Stay on my side, bitch.
you're showing your age.
Okay, yeah.
You're showing your age.
It's us versus them.
Yeah.
It's us versus
Anyway,
them.
so yeah, so they
show
fucking
already
hate
pisses
us.
me
They
off.
fucking
This show-
they fucking
Wait,
hate
I'm
us.
not
pisses me
done.
off.
Fico, I'm not done. I'm like only beginning. There's also the fact that it's trying to feed into a very real friction that exists between Gen Z and millennials.
And
'cause
there is because on social media, like
They talk
the Gen
shit about
Z,
us.
the Gen Zers consistently are dropping memes about how old we are.
Because they're
Or no,
idiots.
just insulting. They're just always insulting us.
Yeah.
I read one the other day that was like, why do millennials keep saying adulting? Like, I hope you are. Like something like that. Like, they just like are like millennials instead of wondering what their Hogwarts house is, they should be like trying to buy a house or something like that.
Yeah.
They'll understand. They'll understand in 6 years when their
Yeah,
life is
yup,
shit.
yup.
They'll understand, and then they'll be like, you know
When
what?
they're
Maybe those
fucking-
motherfuckers knew what they were doing.
So the creators of the show, I guess, wanted, because Gen Z is their target audience, so they're like, let's feed into the thing that's already in the vein of how they interact with millennials, because the teachers in the show are clearly all millennials. Now
Right.
here's the twist of the show.
Show already
In
sucks.
the original Gossip Girl, we didn't know who Gossip Girl was until the very end of the series, when they had to randomly pick someone out of a hat because they never planned it. They were like,
So
shit.
bad.
They were like,
So you
no.
know who Gossip Girl is.
Yeah. So in this one, first episode, you know who it is.
Are they an
It's
influencer
the
at this point?
No, it's
that
the
like a thing?
teachers.
It's the teachers.
The teachers, so the four millennial teachers have decided to come together because they're like, we're
And
sick of
say,
these
fuck these little rat
bastards.
pussies. We're
Okay.
gonna get together. We're gonna bring up Gossip Girl back, and we're gonna fuck with these kids because they treat us like shit because we're old.
And like
Well, I
they
can
think
get
that they
behind
can
that.
disrespect.
Yeah, I get
okay,
behind
but
that. I'm behind it.
I'm behind it, but the problem is, then you have scenes like the
you
one
enter
guy,
you enter a creepy vibe.
you enter a creepy area. The fact of the matter is, Gossip Girl, even in its original concept, is stalkery.
Right.
But that being said, the original Gossip Girl wasn't really out and about.
Yeah.
You're getting it, right? And we have examples. So the original Gossip Girl wasn't out and about taking photos. She had people text her or email her the scoops.
Right.
So
But-
Gossip Girl in the original wasn't going out doing this stuff because
hold
she
on.
was...
But Gab, hold on. In the defense of the teachers here, remember they are building Gossip Girl back up from zero.
I'm just saying there cannot be any more scenes of an adult male go in the rain taking pictures of
I know, two high school
minors
kids.
undressing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Getting naked.
that's where you kind of yeah.
You're right.
that's-
You're right. That was creepy, and that made it look creepy overall. Yes.
That made it bad. And to be quite honest with you, it makes us millennials look sad. It's four washed up teachers, dirt
does.
poor,
It
like
does.
running, and they're following these kids around so they can ruin their lives on Instagram because they just are so bitter and resentful of their lives.
It's pretty fucked up.
Perhaps this show is a lot smarter than I'm giving it credit for. A lot of things are starting to make sense right now.
It could be. To be honest, the show itself, if done right, could be good. It's just like maybe.
And all this happened in one episode.
This is all in one episode.
All one episode. They're an hour long.
So I listen. Overall, we know what we're getting into by watching this.
Right.
Like, it's a teeny bopper show, and it always was, and it always will be. But maybe because it's HBO, and because they are putting more money into this than they did in the original, then maybe they're gonna try to give us a little bit better plot. We're getting less episodes. We're not getting 30 episodes a season. We're getting, what, 10?
The first season, I believe, will be 10 episodes.
Yeah. So maybe let's just give them the benefit of the doubt here that maybe in this show, they're going to give us better quality plot. And if that's the case, then I'm down with that, because I do like the idea that the teachers are the Gossip Girl. I like that they're the ones that are starting this to fuck over these pussy kids. I just obviously don't do creepy things, but they have to start from somewhere, because eventually the whole point is you bring up Gossip Girl enough, and you saw at the end of the episode, Gossip Girl was getting a whole bunch of DMs from a whole bunch of people and followers, and they were starting to send Gossip Girl pictures that people outside were taking.
More gossip, more scoops.
Right. So
more
that's
stuff.
the whole process. So
I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna watch this episode. I'm gonna watch
the first.
when we're done.
Watch the first episode. That's
now. If we could just turn this into a segment on this program where we could shit on this show,
right,
every week, I'd be about that. I'd be
happy to do that. Gossip Girl watch.
Yeah. Rob, get a nice little sounder. Get a nice little sounder made. Like,
yeah.
Gossip Girl watch.
Yeah. As we progress, because obviously this episode even still had technical difficulties.
Right.
But as we progress and as things get better quality, because now that we're learning a little better how to use the systems,
sure,
I'll try to add sound clips, and we're gonna have little like things that like go across the TV, like little heads, bouncing up and down. And shit. But
Fico, you're also in luck. New episodes release every Thursday on HBO Max. So the second episode will release tomorrow. God knows I'm getting up at 8 a.m. to watch it before I start working, because I really want to know with the second because I'm very curious, because the first episode was such a rockin' and a rollin' shit for me that I'm like, I need to see if the second episode will solidify
we'll continue that
something
or
change. That's worth coming back week to week, or should I just wait for all the 10 episodes to be done? But I will say that there's a lot of the cast, at the very least, I'm curious. I want to see what you guys are doing. And the original Gossip Girl was a lot of fun. I'm hoping this will be fun. And hey, we are washed up millennials, so let's get our revenge.
Yeah, fuck it. I mean, go teachers.
Fair.
Go
teachers. Fuck their lives.
Fuck their lives up. Fuck it.
I'm just like imagining a Family Guy. I'm imagining like a Family Guy aside segment, where it's just like a red-eyed, like bags under their eyes, like 30-year-olds like, you fucking little shit.
I've got you now.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's an interesting twist, but watch it. New episode tomorrow.
Yeah, cool. And we won't do scores. We won't do scores at all until maybe the end of the episode, the end of the show.
Okay, we're here to talk shit about Gossip Girl.
But it's really mostly just
I'm
talk
definitely
shit about
down to roast it. I'm definitely down to roast it.
I don't know if we have anything else, but next week I'd like to discuss Fast 9, because Fast 9 I saw, and I think it's worth the watch. It's fucking nuts, but it's what you would expect for Fast and Furious.
John Cena's in this.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's anything else that's pending that we need to see or discuss.
I need to finish Loki. I haven't really cared. It ended today.
I haven't seen Loki. I've only seen the first 15 minutes. Haven't really seen that. But again, I'm also
shows aren't.
Other than WandaVision, because WandaVision was really well done in a unique way.
A lot of Emmy noms.
Yeah. Other than that, like, I don't really need to see these shows that are 6 episodes long, 8 episodes long, that don't really even give me that much in terms of the whole storyline.
Right.
So if that's the case, listen, man, unless somebody tells me, hey, watch it, it's very, very good, and you're missing, you're gonna add this and this and this to it, I'm not gonna bother. So
I've watched the first 3 episodes, 3.5 episodes for Loki. I confess that every single time I've watched them, I'm doing something else simultaneously.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So
Just
it
kind of
doesn't
background
have
stuff.
my complete attention. I'm not saying that it's bad. It just doesn't have my complete attention in particular.
Right.
I will finish it. We'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
I'm more excited for the content that's coming out in the fall. No, we can talk about Bad Batch when it wraps up. There's only a couple episodes left,
yeah.
so when that finishes, we'll also talk about Star Wars.
okay,
Next
we'll discuss. We'll all talk and see what we're gonna discuss for next week too. So.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
Thank you for dealing with us through our technical difficulties.
That's right.
Every week.
But
Every
we
week,
made it.
fun.
But we made it. We did an entire
Back.
episode. We are back.
yeah.
And thank you. Peace out, y'all.
Until next time.
Later.